This is why you need Centex Primetime. Jalen Gillis brings the realness. Dive into the heart of sports with the most passionate commentary around. From pro to high school, Jalen's got the insight and energy you crave. Catch all the action weekdays from 5 to 7 p.m. on the Centex Sports Network, only on YouTube. Join the conversation and elevate your sports knowledge with Centex Primetime. Don't miss it.
Need video or audio solutions? Lighthouse Streaming, a full-scale media agency, can transform any event. Check this out. We're talking live streaming that's crisp and clear, event audio that hits every note, and church video and audio solutions that'll enhance worship. Corporate events, we got those on lock too. From concerts to conferences, Lighthouse Streaming and Audio makes your vision shine. Book your appointment now at lighthousestreaming.com or call 254-252-4206 for a free consultation. Let's elevate your event and light up the stage.
What's up, everybody? My name is Jalen Gillis. You may know me from Centex Sports Network. We're starting a new platform, Recruit 254. Our mission is to highlight the amazing student athletes of 254. So if you're in the Waco, Killeen, Temple, Mart, Marlin, or any surrounding 254 areas, follow this platform and join the movement. Recruit 254. 254, let's run it up.
This is why you need Centex Primetime. Jalen Gillis brings the...
Hello and welcome back into Centex Primetime. I am your host, Jalen Gillis, getting ready to bring you through the primetime topics in sports, not just here in the Central Texas area, but from all around the nation. We want to thank everybody for tuning in with us here today. So we've got a great show planned for you here today, as we'll be showing an interview that I had the chance to get with athletic director of Colorado, Mr. Rick George himself. Me and Rocky got a chance to sit down with him at Big 12 Media Day, and we'll show that interview here today. We'll talk about a few other things here today. I'll give my power rankings, top 5 schools that I have heading into football season here in the Waco area. We're talking some high school football here today, folks, on Centex Primetime. We'll also talk some quick takes, and we'll also give an insight to some behind the scenes of what college football is like now, the business of college football, and how some of these different teams operate, as we got a chance to sit down with one of the main business guys. The money man is what me and Rocky called him for Oklahoma State, Mr. Kenyatta Wright. So can't wait to show you guys those interviews. We'll play those throughout this episode, and we'll talk about some more things here today on Centex Primetime. I want to thank everybody for watching with us. If you haven't already, please subscribe to our YouTube, Centex Sports Network / Centex Sports TV. That is on YouTube. You can find us on there. Subscribe, like, and share all the videos. We've got past interviews that we got at Big 12 Media Day. We've got a lot of content on there just from the show throughout the last few weeks. Shorts have been doing pretty well as well. So go over there and check it out. Like and share a lot of those. Also, you can watch live on Facebook, Centex Sports Network over on Facebook as well. And as always, make sure you guys check out our website, CentexSportsNetwork.com. That is CentexSportsNetwork.com. Go on there and check us out. You'll be able to catch all of our content on there as well. Well, folks, like I said, a lot to talk about here today. We've covered a lot this week. We had a really fun week up here on Centex Primetime. We had Rocky earlier in the week, and then the last 2 days had PJ on with us to talk about some of the things going on in the world of sports. And we've got plenty to cover here today, folks. So I want to jump right into it. First, I've got to talk about some local sports, man. High school football season is right around the corner. August 29th cannot come quick enough, as we'll have the debut for most high school teams in the Central Texas area. We'll also have Baylor versus Auburn going on right here in Waco, Texas, down off the river at McLean Stadium. That game will be on August 29th on a Friday night as well. The blackout game is what they are calling it. So the city is booming right now. Everyone is ready for football season. And I want to talk about some of these teams that I like coming into the season. Now, I want to start giving these updated power rankings list as we get closer and closer to football season, and obviously as we go throughout football season as well. But these are some of my preseason guys that I like the most heading into the 2025 season. Coming in at number 1, I've got the team that made it all the way to state last year, one of our only teams that made it to state in football last year, and that is the Waco La Vega Pirates, man. The La Vega Pirates obviously have been doing an incredible job the last few years. Of course, getting back to the state finals last year, they fell short to a loaded Carthage team. Please go and look at those guys that have already graduated from that team last year and the guys returning on that Carthage Bulldogs team. They got some real live dogs on that team, man. So La Vega, no need to hold their head whatsoever for losing that game. I was in attendance watching that game in Jerry World. Very competitive game. It came down to the very end where Carthage was able to pull away. But La Vega's bringing back some guys once again. They're losing a ton of production, especially starting with guys like Bryson Rowland. Bryson Rowland is a guy that was a 4-year starter at La Vega. So it's tough to replace that production whatsoever, no matter who's coming in, no matter what guys are leaving. When you lose a 4-year starter, that's tough to replace that production. But La Vega is a school that we all know they don't rebuild. They retool every single year, bringing in more guys. The best part about this team is, one of the best parts about this team is their young quarterback, Courtney Parr, that is returning after just his sophomore season last year. This guy was a sophomore. After the first few games, he ended up taking over the starting spot, and the team never looked back from then on out. The La Vega team last year wasn't a team that was projected to go to state. I've talked about it before on the show. A lot of people had questions about, man, why does La Vega play these guys in pre-district? Why do they play such a tough pre-district schedule? And as always, Coach Hyde shows us why these guys played a tough schedule like that, because it gets them ready for late October, for November, for December, when you're playing that far into the season. And this team went on a tear as they got into the playoffs. A lot of that had to do with the leadership and the great play of Courtney Parr, who was just a sophomore. So if we're bringing a guy like that back in the program to go along with the absolute stud receiver in Jabari Thornton, who was committed to Oklahoma State. We talked a little bit about him to Kenyatta Wright, as you'll see in the interview a little bit later on in the show. But Jabari Thornton is a monster at receiver. This guy can make plays no matter where he's at on the field. We watched it. I watched it up close and personal all year long, being able to cover that La Vega team. Bringing that duo back might be the best wide receiver and quarterback duo in the greater Waco area, in the Central Texas area. It's one of the best quarterback wide receiver duos in the state of Texas. We heard earlier in the summer, Dave Campbell's was talking about the best quarterback and wide receiver duos, and one of those they brought up was Courtney Parr and Jabari Thornton. That is because those two had a great chemistry on the field when they played with each other last year. The amount of production they're bringing back is going to be special. They lost Bryson Rowland, but the little brother, Caden Rowland, is a baller as well on the defensive side of the ball. A guy that always seems to find himself around the ball, plays in that front seven, is a huge force for this team. And another guy that was only a sophomore last year. So La Vega's bringing in a lot of young talent, and there's been a lot of talk around a young up-and-coming star and true freshman this year, Edison King, who's already garnishing attention from schools like Texas Tech and Baylor, already getting scholarship offers. This kid is just 14, 15 years old, coming in as a freshman and already getting offers. He's going to be playing on the defensive line. I cannot wait to see how he is an added addition to this defensive line. La Vega's defense is something you can always count on being good year in and year out. They're losing a lot of production on the defensive side of the ball when you think about guys like Warren Richardson, a guy that was great for them last year. He's gone on to play football at the next level as well. When you think about guys like Amir Gibson and Willis in the backfield as well, these guys really played a huge part in that secondary, especially for La Vega last year. How do they combat losing those guys? They're going to bring in more guys. Like I said, this is a team that just retools. They don't have to reload. They don't have to rebuild. They just retool with the guys that they have within this program. So I'm super excited about La Vega Pirate football this upcoming season. Coming in at number 2, I've got probably one of the hottest teams in Central Texas, one of the hottest teams in Waco for sure, making a resurgence, and that is University High School. The U-Dogs, the Trojans, going into next year. Last year they had a 7-4 record, 3-2 in district play, but they are bringing back. We talked about a lot of the guys leaving for La Vega. This university team is bringing back a lot of production. We all start by thinking about the 4-star wide receiver out there in London Smith, the Baylor commit in London Smith. We know what he can do with the ball in his hands. We know how dynamic of a receiver this guy is. Throwing the ball to him was another guy that was a young QB last year, a sophomore last year, now coming in as an upperclassman, second year as a starter in the program is Savoy Nichols. I think another year in this offense, another year in this program as a starter is going to do wonders for Savoy Nichols. I think this guy has a lot of upside, a really raw athlete, big quarterback. He's got the frame to be a quarterback that not only plays well in high school, but to play at the next level as well. Savoy Nichols, to pair him up with guys like London Smith, to pair him up with some of the guys they have like Keandre Brooks, I think this offense is going to be great next year. I think this defense is going to be really good. We got a chance to sit down and talk with Coach Foster, who came on the show about a month or so ago, and he is excited about these young guys and what they're able to do on the field, rebuilding this university program, and they want to have success in the playoffs. The last couple of years, it's been kind of a rebuild to get them back to this point, but now they're not just going to be satisfied with making the playoffs. They want to be able to make a run in the playoffs. They've got a tough schedule this year once again, but they've got a tough schedule. It seems like the last 3 or 4 years they've had a really tough schedule. They're going to have really good games playing against guys like China Spring as well. That's a game I can't wait to be able to watch. That is going to be on September 12th, I believe. That's going to be a huge game. But this university team is loaded on both sides of the ball. We had Devontre Kirkland on this show about a month ago. He's a Baylor commit as well, playing on the defensive side of the ball. You think about guys like Joaquin Martinez. A lot of guys that can come in and get to the ball on the defensive side. I love what they're doing on both sides of the ball. Coach Foster is doing an excellent job down there. This is going to be his first year as head coach in that program. I'm super excited to watch the U-Dogs this year. Coming into number 3, we've got my alma mater, man, the Midway Panthers. Midway is kind of on a trajectory back up. They had some down years at the top of this decade, around 2020, 2021. They were in a super, super tough district. Let's start with that for why they had a lot of struggles. They were in a district with Duncanville and DeSoto and Cedar. They were in a monster district. Waxahachie, all these top schools that we look at that compete for state championships year in and year out. Midway was in a district with those guys. So that led to a lot of their struggles as well. But they've got a new coaching staff, the new regime last year. They've got a lot of young talent on this team. I'm very, very excited to be able to watch these guys coming in. They're returning one of the best running backs in Central Texas, and Lathan Wysenton, a guy that rushed for over 1,000 yards last year as just a sophomore. Rushed for over 1,000 yards. Bringing him back into the system once again this year, he's got offers from everywhere. We talked about him a little bit yesterday. Baylor's been on him hard since he was a freshman, but, I mean, this kid's got offers from Ole Miss, Oregon, anywhere you could think of, Oklahoma State, all the top schools that you can think of in this area, he's got offers from those. The Texas Longhorns, Texas A&M. All these schools are looking at him. Of course, I'm a homer. I want him to go to Baylor. But, man, this guy's getting attention from everybody, and he's only a junior. I expect him to have a breakout season. Not a breakout season. He kind of had that last year. I expect him to build on top of the breakout season that he had last year, man. Lathan Wysenton is going to be a huge, huge addition or contributor to this Midway Panther offense next year. They bring back guys like Tyler Seath, who was their leading receiver last year. He's coming back for his senior year. They've got a really great young receiving core. They're going to have to replace Baller and Cash Pullen, who was their quarterback last year, a guy that really had a lot of success in that offense. Going to replace him at the quarterback and see what can he do. But, man, this Midway team is on the right track. They're in another tough division this time with teams like Harker Heights. But I think Midway has a chance to compete to win this district going into next year. So they're super exciting. That's why I have at number 3. Coming into number 4, got to respect history and got to respect a traditional powerhouse in the Mart Panthers, man. The Mart Panthers, regardless of them not winning state last year, that's how you know you have a powerhouse program. When everybody thinks you're falling off just because you don't get to state, you know you have a powerhouse program. This team, I think, has another chance to compete and get back to state once again, just like they do every single year, be able to get to state or get far in the playoffs. They went 9-3 last year. I expect Mart to have another really great year this year as well. I have them at number 4 in my power rankings. At number 5, I kind of went back and forth with a few different teams, man. There was a few guys that I would like to put onto this list. I thought about the Robinson Rockets, who really had a great season last year. At one point was ranked in the state, ranked top 10 in the state last year, led by a really good running back in Evan Marino. I think that offense is going to be great. China Spring, another one of those historic programs. They had a down year last year, but China Spring is a team that I don't expect to stay down long at all. They have winning DNA. This is a team that knows how to win, even though they had a down year last year. Man, this is a perennial powerhouse from the entire time of me watching high school football over the last 30 years. This is a team that competes year in and year out, expecting them to do the same. But coming into my number 5 spot, I'm going to put a team that I had a chance to look at up close and personal for years, and that was the Conley Cadets. They had, I guess, sort of a down year by their standards and what you would say over the last few years, but they're returning one of the top players, the top-rated player by ESPN in the Waco area, and that's Jamarian Vincent, who's a guy that's a do-it-all guy. He's recruited and committed to Baylor, recruited as a corner, but this is a guy that does it all. He plays on the defensive side of the ball. He plays quarterback. He plays receiver. He plays running back. He does it all. You pair him in with Evans that they have on that team as well. I think this Conley Cadet team is going to be very competitive next year. They're in one of the most competitive divisions. When you talk about their district that's got schools like Robinson, La Vega, China Spring, Conley, one of the toughest divisions, I think the toughest division in Central Texas week in and week out, especially with teams like Gatesville that's been getting better. All the teams in that division or in that district, very competitive. Conley, one of those teams. They're always competing for that district title. Obviously, I have La Vega as the favorite in that district, but coming in right behind them, I think this Conley team has a chance to do something good this year, especially led by guys like Jamarian Vincent out there as well. So those are my 5 teams that I have as a power ranking coming into next year. I have La Vega at number 1, University number 2, Midway Panthers at number 3, the Mart Panthers at number 4, and at number 5, I have the Conley Cadets. Those are the 5 teams that I like going into next year. Talked a little bit yesterday about some of the players that I like going into next year, and I named a lot of those guys already. We're talking about Latham Wyson. We're talking about Jamarian Vincent, London Smith, Evan Marino, who almost rushed for 2,000 yards last year, Jabari Thornton. So much talent in this Waco area, in this Central Texas area, Greater Waco area, whichever one you want to call it. So much talent, and week in and week out we get to see it displayed. And we are only 4 weeks away, folks, 4 weeks away now from what is going to be a really, really good 2025 season. Like I said, some of the spotlight's going to get stolen away on opening weekend because Baylor is going to have Auburn in town and what's going to be a great matchup. I'll talk a little bit more about that one in just a second, but that's going to be a great matchup as well on that Friday night. So August 29th, the city's going to be booming. Stay away from I-35. I-35 is jacked up right now. So I can only imagine what it's going to be like on the first Friday of football season with Baylor playing right off of the highway, plus all these teams trying to get all the way, teams and fans trying to get up and down these highways, man. So definitely cannot wait for that on August 29th. Just a few weeks away at this point is August 1st is tomorrow. Folks, like I said at the beginning of the show, got a chance to go to Big 12 Media Day a few weeks ago. Me and Rocky Miller got a chance to sit down with the athletic director of Colorado, Mr. Rick George, man. Gave us a lot of insight on his relationship with Deion Sanders, gave us a lot of insight on how they decide to run their school and their program out there, how he kind of gave Deion the keys to do what he wanted to do and to do what he felt like was necessary. And obviously we know the tremendous impact that Coach Prime has had on the Colorado Buffs, not only the football team, but the school. Enrollment is way up through the roof. Their economy in Boulder, Colorado is through the roof, especially during football season, man. This guy, the way that he was able to impact the economy in Boulder, Colorado, to impact the economy in Jackson State is just another testament to his great story and what is Coach Prime. But I want to show you guys the interview that we got a chance to do, me and Rocky Miller, sitting down with the athletic director of Colorado, Mr. Rick George. We'll take you guys over to that interview right now. Hello and welcome back into Centex Sports Network, live here from the Star in Frisco, Texas, where we have Big 12 Media Day. Day 2 of Big 12 Media Day. Had a lot of fun here so far. Rocky Miller still joining me at the table, and we do have a very, very special guest, the athletic director for the Colorado Buffaloes, Mr. Rick George in the building. What's going on?
Oh, I'm just happy to be here, happy to have a conversation with you guys.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Well, it's a lot that goes into Big 12 Media Day. We and Rocky were talking about it. To see a lot of these coaches and different personnel for the teams doing a lot of different things. How busy are you guys on these 2 days for Media Day? Because there's a lot of moving pieces that have to happen.
Yeah, there's a lot of moving pieces, but I think it's great. I mean, I talked to our players earlier, and they're enjoying the experience, you know, to be around and have conversations with a lot of people about their team and where they're headed and all those kind of things. So it's really the kickoff to the season for us, you know, having Big 12 Media Days this time of the year. We got to go back, and we got 3 weeks of work to do, and then we report for camp. So a lot of positive, good things ahead.
Hey, Rick, I'm a guy who loves the business of sports, and one of the things that has happened in your tenure at Colorado, the athletic departments have changed quite a bit since you've been an AD, and then up till today with NIL and so many other things being involved in athletics. Well, how would you describe the experience of what it was when you first got into the business and what it is now?
Look, I mean, when I first got into the business, you know, it was really kind of resurrecting and bringing Colorado back, you know, from a football standpoint, bringing it back to relevance. And we finally did that. You know, we went from Mike McIntyre to Mel Tucker to Carl Durrell and then to Coach Prime. And when we brought him, I mean, that was a really important thing that we needed to do, is to get him back, because that helps the business of sport, because we needed to get more people. Your athletic department's only as strong as your football program. I mean, let's be honest, they generate 75 to 80% of your revenue.
Yes, sir.
And so if football's not right, you're not right. And so we did a lot of things to get us to where we needed to be. We created a Crawford Family Whole Student Athlete that are all the areas that touch our student athletes, and psychological health and nutrition and academics and leadership and all those things. We built a great new facility. So now that we've got Coach here and all of our premium seats have been sold out for the next 3 years, and you know, we're in a really good spot from that standpoint. But let's also understand that there's another thing coming 3 to 5 years from now, in my opinion. And you know, we want to make sure that Colorado's well positioned for that moment, and I think we're in a really good spot today.
Now, business is booming in Colorado, and a lot of that is due to the very innovative choice you made as a head coach, in choosing a head coach. Where did the courage and I guess the fearlessness come from, you individually, to make that decision to hire Coach Prime and coach?
Look, I think it took a lot of courage on his part, because we were 1-11. You know, we were a program that's steeped in history and tradition, but we hadn't lived up to it the last 12 years. And so he took a chance on us, you know. And so, yes, it took some courage from my part, but it took some from his. And I think as I looked at the situation, and once I met him, once I got in front of him, we only had one face-to-face meeting. We talked on the phone a few times because he was really focused on Jackson State, and he didn't want to get distracted. And so we didn't have a lot of conversations. But when I sat in his home and we had a conversation, I learned who Deion Sanders was, Coach Prime, and I was incredibly impressed with the attention to detail in his presentation and mine and how we connected, and he's an unbelievable man.
Definitely. Mr. George, tell us a little bit about the Colorado experience that makes not only the fans enjoy it. We see you guys stadium, you've got the mountain sitting right behind it, but makes also the student athlete enjoy the Colorado experience of coming to the school.
Yeah, look, and I think Coach changed the game there. And I said this earlier to someone else that nobody, you know, we had some previous coaches that were really good coaches, Mel Tucker, Mike McIntyre, Carl Durrell, but they didn't know how to sell what we had. And when he went there that first night at 2 a.m. when he arrived, I was still at CFB meetings at the time, so I wasn't there. But they videotaped that, and his reaction to how great of a situation we have, the facilities and all of that, he brought it to life. And what he's doing on social media platforms, on, you know, selling our athletic department, our community, our state, he just knows how to do it better than anybody, and that translates over to recruiting, because when you're having those conversations and you're talking about all the great things that Boulder has and that we have in the athletic department to offer student athletes, it impacts the whole deal. And if you look at our viewership numbers, I mean, we were 7th in the country last year at 55 million viewers, and that's important, and it's going to be important as we go to this next phase somewhere down the road about, again, change always happens in this industry every time around when media rights are up, and we'll see what transpires. But our responsibility is to place Colorado in the right place, so they're at the table having those discussions.
What impresses me about the Colorado situation is that seems like the entire state is pushing in the same direction behind Coach Prime, and we're in the Baylor market, and so we've watched coaches come in Baylor and have some success and deal with certain things. But I don't think we've seen a situation where everybody is pushing in that very same direction. How are you able to get everybody to push in that same direction toward making Colorado great? And I know it's ultimately about winning, but it seems like it's more than about winning at Colorado.
It is, but I think everybody's winning. I think that's the difference. Everybody's winning. Denver's winning, the state of Colorado, tourism's winning, the businesses are winning, because we're bringing crowds in, we're bringing eyeballs, we're bringing people from Virginia that never came to our games that are coming to our games, and that's the Prime effect. And he's had a big impact on it. You can say whatever you want to say, you can say all these other things, but he's the center of all of that. And he's the one who has brought so much attention, and everybody's jumped behind it because it's lifting all boats. You've heard that old saying, right? Yeah. And it's lifting everything. And plus he does it in a way where he's got great discipline and accountability on his team. And, their GPAs have never been better, and the graduation rates have never been better for football. But he comes here and says, if you don't do the work academically, you're not going to be on the field and play. And he's old school, and I love that. We need old school back.
Yeah, yes, sir.
And
yes, sir.
I'm old school. I mean, you can tell. I mean, I'm older than all you guys. But he's just done an incredible job, and I'm so glad he's going to be our coach the next 5 years.
Rick, one thing I think that really impressed me about you is you make being an AD looks fun.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
But it is fun.
Yes.
You can't be fun around 19 to 20-year-olds and 20, you shouldn't be in the business. And I tell my staff all the time, if you can't be passionate about these young men and women that compete and study and do the things that they do, you shouldn't be in this department, because it should be fun, because our job is to make them prepared for the rest of their life and to have fun while doing it. And I get to watch games. That's part of my job, watching games, and I don't have to pay for it.
Yes, sir.
Absolutely.
Mr. George, before we let you get out of here, when everybody comes in to visit, we already talked about the experience that they get when they come to Boulder, Colorado. Where do guys need to go? Favorite spot, your go-to spot when somebody says, hey, Mr. George, we need somewhere to stop and eat. Where is the go-to spot that guys have to come and visit?
Well, look, the Sink is a landmark and a tradition there, and our students go there. It's right on the hill. And then there's a place called Pasta J's, which we go every Friday night before the game, my family and my grandkids and I, before the game. And just anything on Pearl Street, it's a great place to be, and a lot of fun. And there's so many great places to eat in Colorado, but those would be probably two that I would tell you I really enjoy.
Well, I know you guys may come to Waco at some point, and if you get a chance, try RNS barbecue. It's pretty good, though.
Yeah,
Great.
We'll show you around wherever you need to go.
Tell RNS we coming.
Yeah.
And we ain't hard to find.
Y'all heard it here, the athletic director, Mr. Rick George. It was an honor, sir. Thank you for coming by and stopping and talking with us for a little bit.
Thank you.
Yes, sir. Yes,
Appreciate
sir.
it.
We'll be back here on Centex Sports Network. Rick George, the athletic director for the Colorado Buffaloes. We'll be back. Hello. And that was the athletic director of Colorado, Mr. Rick George himself. As everyone can see, a very charismatic guy, a guy that's really passionate about all of his sports programs. We talked a lot about football because we were there for Big 12 Media Days for football, but this is a guy that's passionate about all the sports and all the things going on there at Colorado. Gave a real insight to, like I said, the relationship between him and Coach Prime. Now, obviously, this was Big 12 Media Day. A few weeks ago, this was before Coach Prime let everybody know about all of his health dealings. We didn't want to ask him about that because that's a personal
thing between him and Coach Prime. But he did give a look into the insight into the relationship that these guys have and the trust that he has with Coach Prime. He talked about the Prime effect. So he knows what's going on. He knows how Coach Prime is impacting this program. Some people across the country try to differ that and try to say, oh, well, he's not doing this, he's not doing that. Rick George, the athletic director, knows the type of effect that Coach Prime has had on the Colorado program. He's really influenced these guys and influenced the community and got these guys believing. You can't win anything until guys are bought in. I think all of these guys are bought in at Colorado on all the different levels, but especially the football program, and athletic director Rick George had a lot to do with that. I want to thank him once again for even giving us the time of day to come by and stop by and giving that interview. We got it just from Rocky yelling out and saying something about Rick George as he was passing by, and he said, hey, I'll stop back through and talk to you guys. Okay, a lot of people say that, especially at a place like that. But he came right back probably 30, 40 minutes later, came back by the booth once again, sat down with us for 10 minutes to have a little bit of conversation. So definitely shout out, a great guy, great time meeting him at Big 12 Media Day. We met a lot of good guys at Big 12 Media. We'll show the interview with Kenyatta Wright a little bit later on in the show. But met a lot of really solid guys at Big 12 Media Days, him being one of them. Got a chance to meet Michael Redd. I know that's kind of random, but he's working on an app that's going to deal with collegiate players and them having their own app and having their own brand on his app. So he was there. We kind of got a chance to sit back and talk with him for a little bit, for about 10 minutes and talking. And I was just thinking, like, man, this is crazy getting a chance to talk to Michael Redd, even though we're at Big 12 Media Days, a guy that I've really watched a lot of ball. I mean, I love 2000s basketball when we talk about the NBA. And obviously Michael Redd was a huge part of that, man. And so that was definitely really cool getting a chance to talk to him. But that was our interview with athletic director Rick George. I want to talk a little bit about Baylor since we just talked about some Big 12 football. Baylor's got a lot going on this season. So I've talked about them plenty on this show. They've been getting a lot of recognition. Me and PJ sat on here yesterday and talked about how Baylor's got a chance to even potentially win the Big 12. I still feel like that. I still feel like Baylor can compete with any team in the Big 12 this upcoming season. We think about the top name guys like Arizona State, obviously, who won it last year. They're bringing back a lot of production. Think about the Kansas States as well. You think about the Oklahoma States. Everybody picked them last year. I don't know if a lot of guys are picking them this upcoming year. But they very competitive Big 12. Probably top to bottom might be the most competitive outside of the SEC. I mean, we can't trump the SEC. They had teams that won 9 games last year that were in 10th place. So we can't try to put anybody over those guys. The SEC is the top football conference in college football. But I think the Big 12 is right behind those guys. Everybody would say the Big 10 because they got Ohio State and they got Oregon and they got Penn State. But they're very top-heavy. They have some great teams at the top, some of those names we just named. At the bottom, they have some really, really bad teams. The Rutgers, the Northwesterns, the different teams like that. We talked about that a little bit yesterday. The Big 12, top to bottom, is one of the most competitive leagues. It might be the most competitive because nobody really has an edge on anybody. Nobody is head and shoulders above anybody else when talking about the different standings and talking about who can win this conference. Baylor, I put right at the top. I want to talk a little bit about some of those key guys coming into this season. Obviously, we all know Sawyer Robertson is going to start and end with the play of Sawyer Robertson. If Sawyer Robertson comes out and plays great, has another great season like he did at the second half of last year, we can compete with anybody not only in the Big 12 but in the country. But I want to talk about some of these other key guys coming into this year. First off, a lot of this is going to start with Bryson Washington, man. I was so glad, like I said yesterday, to see his rating on a new NCAA game, not because that means anything when you have a high rating, but it means that he's getting recognition for how good of a player people in this Baylor community really think he is, and guys that covered this Baylor team last year like myself. Man, he was special. From the time he touched the ball, I think it was the second or third game of the season last year, I went to the game and got a chance to see him play, and I'm like, man, this is the kid from Franklin that's right here in this greater Waco area. He's a monster. But maybe it's just early in the season, playing lesser teams. It's not going to do much. He goes on to have a tremendous season, rushes for over 1,000 yards, even after missing a few games. He had 12 touchdowns, over 200 yards receiving as well on a receiving touchdown. His biggest game came in that West Virginia game where he went for 192 rushing yards and 2 touchdowns. Or that was versus Kansas. And he also had another really, really great game against West Virginia as well, where he rushed for 123 yards and 3 touchdowns. Whenever you can run the ball, when you think back to any of the good Baylor teams, we were talking yesterday about the 2014, the 2015 teams that had, different guys on the Shock Linwood was a huge part of that team. We think back to them winning a Big 12 or getting to the Big 12 championship game a few years back when Matt Rule was over it. A very power, running-heavy team. We think back to when Dave Aranda first got here and they got to the Big 12 championship and won a Big 12 championship. Running the ball was a huge part of that. Bryson Washington is going to be a huge part of this Baylor offense next year. Rushed for 1,000 yards last year, splitting carries. Also bringing in a Dawson Pendergrass back to go with him. Richard Reese has transferred on. But Dawson Pendergrass had a great season last year as well, especially when you think about these guys weren't getting a lot of touches. It's not like they had a bell cow guy getting 30, 35 carries. They were splitting carries in that running back room between a few different guys. Bryson Washington is going to be a huge part of that. Another one everyone thinks about is Josh Cameron, a guy that's coming in, Big 12 All-American, had a tremendous breakout season last year, and I think he's going to have a good season as well. But I want to talk about another one of the pass catchers, and that's Michael Trigg, a guy that transferred from Ole Miss a couple years ago, had a really good season last year. I think he has a chance to be a big part of this year's offense this year. Sawyer Robinson's got a lot of weapons to throw to. They brought in transfer Kobe Prentice from Alabama. They brought in other guys. They brought in Cole as well. They brought in a few different guys at the receiving spot. I'm interested to see, and a guy that's been, kind of getting some more attention and name, been ringing some bells around the Baylor practices, and that's Jaden Porter, a guy that came straight out of Lorena High School. Matter of fact, when they went all the way to state a few years ago, he was a huge part of that team, probably the best player on that team. What kind of impact can he have on this year's team? Because even when we got a chance to sit down and talk with Josh Cameron at Big 12 Media Day, Jaden Porter was one of those guys he mentioned. They've got a lot of talent coming into that receiving room. The tight end room, led by Michael Trigg, I think has a chance to be really special. I think Michael Trigg is a phenomenal athlete, a guy that's a good run-after-the-catch guy, a guy that's got a good size out there at tight end, does well in the run scheme as well with blocking. I like Michael Trigg a lot coming into this next season. Now, I'm going to go to the defensive side of the ball as far as impact guys. One of them is the transfer coming in from Tulane, Matthew Fobbs-White. This is a guy that played really well last year on Tulane, had 4 sacks last year, had a forced fumble last year as well. Coming in now, as to this front seven, this linebacking core, whichever one you want to call it, playing on that front seven, Matthew Fobbs-White I think is going to be a huge piece for this defensive line. We had some really good edge rushers last year when we were replacing guys like Steve Linton. We were replacing guys like Garmin Randolph. When you replace guys like that, they got to come in and be productive. Matthew Fobbs-White, I think, can really be productive this upcoming season for them. Another guy I want to bring up, the only guy to make, well, one of 2 guys to make an All-American team, a national All-American team coming into the 2025 season, and that's Keaton Thomas at linebacker. Last year, he had a really, really good season for the Bears, 114 tackles, 7 tackles for loss, 2.5 sacks last year. He had a pick 6 and was named first team All Big 12 last year at the linebacker spot. He's going to be the heart and soul of this defense. We'll show his interview next week. We'll be dropping his interview along with Josh Cameron as well, that we got a chance to sit down and talk with them at Big 12 Media Day. But in that, he talked about the violence this defense wants to play with. He talked about the speed this defense wants to play with, and he knows that he is a leader on this team. Bringing in that leadership of being able to start last year to make first team All Big 12, bringing that type of leadership back to a linebacker group that lost production, which talked about the Gorman Randolphs and the Steve Lintons, the Matt Jones that graduated last year as well. Losing a lot of production out of there, but they're bringing a lot of production back with guys like Keaton Thomas. Also as well, bringing in production with this next guy that I want to talk about, Travion Barnes, coming in from FIU, one of the leading tacklers in the nation, finished the season 5th in tackles in the entire nation at FIU last year with 129 tackles, had 10.5 tackles for loss, 3 sacks, and 2 picks last year. Travion Barnes is going to be a huge piece to this Baylor defense. We know that the calling card for this Baylor team needs to be defense because that's the side of the ball that their head coach, Coach Aranda, is coaching. Last year, the defense was able to fly around, get to the ball a lot of pass breakups, a lot of QB hurries. That's what he wants to see. That's going to start with guys like Travion Barnes, who's transferring in from FIU, a big-time piece and a big-time pickup. Another guy I wanted to name, but unfortunately was injured and is going to miss this season, and that's DJ Turner, the safety that came over from Northwestern. I think he was going to have a huge impact and potentially maybe play in that star position. But a guy that I do want to bring up that's coming back in the secondary, and that's Devin Bobby. We got a chance to sit down and talk with Devin Bobby for a few minutes at Big 12 Media Day as well. He talked about the violence and the physicality that this defense wants to play with as well. He's a guy that's not afraid to come down into the box and make plays. He's a guy that's not afraid to take some chances to go out there and get the ball. Had 80 tackles last year, 3 interceptions as well last year, multiple pass breakups, and was third on the team in tackles last year from the safety spot. Coming back for his senior year, the guy out of DeSoto, Devin Bobby, I think is going to be a huge piece for this defense, kind of the last line of defense for this Baylor defense. He's going to be the eyes in the back of that defense for that secondary, him to go along with Caden Jenkins as well in that secondary. A secondary that honestly has a lot to prove this upcoming season. The secondary was very shaky at moments last year in Baylor's season. This year, this secondary is looking to improve. They're looking to come back and make key adjustments. Devin Bobby is going to be a big piece of that. Like I said, lost his running mate. That was going to be the other safety in Turner, but they're bringing back guys like Simpkins, who was hurt last year. They're bringing back guys like DJ Coleman. That could be a huge piece for them as well. So we'll see how they work out between the star position and the safeties, how they decide to work that out. But those are some of the players that I am super, super excited to see coming into next year for the Baylor Bears. Baylor, like I said, right there as the teams that you have to think about when you think about winning the Big 12. Now, obviously, Arizona State is going to be at the top of that. They won last year. Texas Tech and what they've done this offseason has been tremendous. The amount of transfers they've brought in, I think David Bailey is going to be a huge, huge piece for them on that front seven as well. The amount of production they're bringing back at the receiver spot, it comes down to the play of Morton, honestly. What can he do at quarterback? Can he lead this team? Can he be a force multiplier? Can he be a truck instead of a trailer, as Rocky would say? That's what's going to be the question marks for this Texas Tech team. But they're bringing back a lot of talent. Colorado, we just showed the interview with Rick George. Colorado bringing back a lot of talent, bringing in some new talent. Caden Salters, who I think is going to be the guy that wins the QB battle. It's still a battle right now. We watch a lot of their offseason content. Still a battle going on between Julian Lewis, the true freshman, and Caden Salters. I think Caden Salters is going to be the guy for the job. They've got dogs at receiver, Omarion Miller, Jalen Miller, a guy that I think is going to have a breakout season this year as well. They've got some transfer guys that are coming in. And I wouldn't be surprised if we see, even early on, some touches for the young Quentin Gibson, the guy that was the most electric player in the state of Texas last year. For anybody to watch Texas high school football last year, the most electric player was Quentin Gibson. Somehow, this guy was a 3-star rating by some metrics, a 4-star rating. I have no idea he's not a 5-star. You take a team like North Crowley that a lot of people wouldn't even have put in the picture to win anything. They get all the way to state and win state and went through a gauntlet to get to state. They beat Duncanville. They beat DeSoto. They beat these top-name guys on their way to an undefeated season, and the best player on that team was Quentin Gibson. How he didn't get a 5-star rating, I don't know. I guess because of the size. They want 5-star receivers to be 6'2", 6'3", 200 pounds. That guy plays like a 5-star. Do not be shocked to see him playing for Colorado this upcoming season, even though he's just a true freshman. That guy is electric when he touches the football. I really am glad are really excited to see if Baylor's going to use him. But this Big 12, a lot of contenders. Can't leave Utah out. They go and get Dan Pierre in the transfer portal from New Mexico, bringing him in at quarterback. Can they replace these guys? BYU, what are they going to do with losing their quarterback now who's transferred late? They have to try to bounce back and get the new quarterback up to speed. Get these guys up to speed. They've got a lot of dogs on their side, though. Roberts, their receiver, huge guy, big target. L.J. Martin, one of the biggest running backs in the nation. I mean, the dude is literally like 6'3", playing running back. We don't see that too often. They're going to be a problem next year as well. And then you always can't leave out Iowa State, man. Rocco Beck coming back as well into that system. Big 12 returning some monsters at quarterback. We know the SEC is king right now as far as the conferences go in the Power Four. But the Big 12 is bringing back the best quarterbacks. I know the SEC has Arch Manning. I know the SEC has DJ Lagway. I know the SEC has Lenore Sellers. But no Power Four conference is bringing back more starting returning quarterbacks than the Big 12. Talking about guys like Sam Levitt that had a great season. Noah Fafita, who had a good season last year, coming back. Sawyer Robinson, who had a great season, is coming back into this offense as well. Rocco Beck is coming back. Jalen Daniels at Kansas. Avery Johnson at Kansas State is coming back. Jay Hoover at TCU coming back. Morton will be back at Texas Tech this upcoming season as well. The Big 12 is returning some dogs, man. And I can't wait for this season to kick off because the Big 12 is so wide open. Just like last year, everybody picked, not everybody, a lot of people picked Oklahoma State as their winner in the Big 12 last year. They ended up getting last place. A lot of people picked Arizona State to be in last place last year. They ended up getting first place. Sam Levitt and all those guys snuck up on everybody. They won't be able to sneak up on everybody this year, but the Big 12 is still wide open for this upcoming football season. So I'm super excited to be able to watch these guys. Folks, we're getting ready to take a quick break. When we come back, we're going to show the interview with myself, Rocky, and one of the business guys, the money man is like we like to call him, Kenyatta Wright for Oklahoma State, who's going to give us a really in-depth look to the insight of college football, the business side. How do they allocate money? How do they move funds around? How do they talk to recruits without talking about money? We're going to talk about all of that. And, of course, we'll end the show with some quick takes and some news that's going on around the world of sports. So we're getting ready to take a break right here, folks. Stay tuned and stay locked in with us. We'll be right back after this break.
This is why you need Centex Primetime. Jalen Gillis brings the realness. Dive into the heart of sports with the most passionate commentary around. From pro to high school, Jalen's got the insight and energy you crave. Catch all the action weekdays from 5 to 7 p.m. on the Centex Sports Network, only on YouTube. Join the conversation and elevate your sports knowledge with Centex Primetime. Don't miss it.
Need video or audio solutions? Lighthouse Streaming, a full-scale media agency, can transform any event. Check this out. We're talking live streaming that's crisp and clear, event audio that hits every note, and church video and audio solutions that'll enhance worship. Corporate events, we got those on lock too. From concerts to conferences, Lighthouse Streaming and Audio makes your vision shine. Book your appointment now at lighthousestreaming.com or call 254-252-4206 for a free consultation. Let's elevate your event and light up the stage.
What's up, everybody? My name is Jalen Gillis. You may know me from Centex Sports Network. We're starting a new platform, Recruit 254. Our mission is to highlight the amazing student athletes of 254. So if you're in the Waco, Killeen, Temple, Mart, Marlin, or any surrounding 254 areas, follow this platform and join the movement. Recruit 254. 254, let's run it up.
This is why you need Centex Primetime. Jalen Gillis brings the realness. Dive into the heart of sports with the most passionate commentary around. From pro to high school, Jalen's got the insight and energy you crave. Catch all the action weekdays from 5 to 7 p.m. on the Centex Sports Network, only on YouTube. Join the conversation and elevate your sports knowledge with Centex Primetime. Don't miss it.
Need video or audio solutions? Lighthouse Streaming, a full-scale media agency, can transform any event. Check this out. We're talking live streaming that's crisp and clear, event audio that hits every note, and church video and audio solutions that'll enhance worship. Corporate events, we got those on lock too. From concerts to conferences, Lighthouse Streaming and Audio makes your vision shine. Book your appointment now at lighthousestreaming.com or call 254-252-4206 for a free consultation. Let's elevate your event and light up the stage.
What's up, everybody? My name is Jalen Gillis. You may know me from Centex Sports Network. We're starting a new platform, Recruit 254. Our mission is to highlight the amazing student athletes of 254. So if you're in the Waco, Killeen, Temple, Mart, Marlin, or any surrounding 254 areas, follow this platform and join the movement. Recruit 254. 254, let's run it up.
This is
Hello and welcome back into Centex Primetime. Jalen Gillis still here. The end of the show, the end of the week. It's been an amazing week here on Centex Primetime. I want to thank everybody for tuning in with us here today. Not only today, but all week long. So we had a really fun week up here. If you haven't, go back and check out some of the episodes from earlier in the week. Talked about a lot. And actually, if you're just now tuning in with us, I would go back and rewatch some of this episode as we show the interview we had with athletic director Rick George. Gave us a lot of insight on the Colorado program and on his relationship with Deion Sanders. And we didn't ask him about the health, but Deion came out and very vividly explained to everybody what was going on with the man. So shout out to Coach Prime and hope he's doing better as well. We just got done talking about the Big 12 and some Baylor guys that I think are going to be standout players for them this year. Some guys that have a chance to make some All-American teams this year. At the beginning of the show, we talked about my power rankings, my top 5 teams that I have coming in to the high school football season here in this greater Waco area. If you're tuning in with us just now, I'll give you a quick rundown of that list. At number 1, I had the guys that just came out of the state game, La Vega Pirates at number 1 in the power rankings. At number 2, I have the Waco University High School Trojans, man, the U-Dogs. Had them at number 2. At number 3, the Midway Panthers. At number 4, the Mart Panthers. And at number 5, I put the Conley Cadets. Obviously, this list is going to update and change as we get further throughout the football season. But those are just 5 teams that I like. And there's plenty that I left off. Any names that I did not bring up, please drop them in the comments, whether you're watching with us on YouTube, Centex Sports Network / Centex Sports TV, or if you're watching with us on Facebook, Centex Sports Network, or if you go back and watch this over on our website, CentexSportsNetwork.com. Drop comments, man. Let us know what teams am I leaving out. The Robinsons, the China Springs, all these different teams, Lorena. What teams am I leaving out, man, and what players am I leaving out? Please let me know. Drop them in the comments on here as well. Folks, we're getting ready to tee up another interview here. We got a chance to sit down with the director of football business. That was his official title for Oklahoma State, Mr. Kenyatta Wright. Former Oklahoma State player, a guy that played in the league, a guy that can give these players a lot of insight. He gave us some insight this day, though, just talking about the background, what goes on in the background of college football business. Obviously, what's the first thing we all think about? NIL. We asked him about NIL. We asked him about how do you have a conversation with players without talking about money. Everybody's worried about getting the bag. Honestly, more focused on getting the bag than they are getting to the next level. How do you navigate that? This new era of college football. How does he navigate with one of the longest tenure coaches in college football right now, and Mike Gundy? He's gone through so many different changes from the beginning of college football or his beginning of his career to right now. He talked a little bit about that and just gave us a lot of insight into how the operations side work or football, especially in collegiate sports and collegiate football as well. So we'll take it over to there right now. The interview, me, Rocky Miller, sitting down with the director of football business at Oklahoma State, Mr. Kenyatta Wright. Hello and welcome back into Centex Sports Network. Jalen Gillis here, still live at Big 12 Media Day here at the Star in Frisco, Texas. Still joined by Rocky Miller here at the table. We've got another special guest here all the way from Stillwater, Oklahoma. We've got the director of football business operations here, Mr. Kenyatta Wright. What's going on?
What's going on, man? How you doing?
I'm doing great. You guys, like I said to a couple of guys earlier, really busy time of year. Hello and welcome back into Centex Sports Network. Jalen Gillis here, still live at Big 12 Media Day here at the Star in Frisco, Texas. Still joined by Rocky Miller here at the table. We've got another special guest here all the way from Stillwater, Oklahoma. We've got the director of football business operations here, Mr. Kenyatta Wright. What's going on?
What's going on, man? How you doing?
I'm doing great. You guys, like I said to a couple of guys earlier, really busy time of year right here during media day. Guys are all over the place. You guys have a lot of people you have to talk to, a lot of contacts you have to make, a lot of places you have to, make sure your players get to everywhere. How busy is media day here for you guys?
Man, for me, it's like a vacation. You know what I'm saying? Because what we've been doing the last 6 months, building our team, I mean, it's been intense. But yeah, today's like a vacation.
That's good. That's good. Can you explain to the people a little bit about what your job is at Oklahoma State and what exactly do you oversee?
Well, the simple part of it is to acquire and retain talent. I deal with all the agents, do all the contracting for our players, all the player services, that how we serve our players. It's coming from the front office under the direction of Coach Gundy, obviously, and myself, and just the overall plan for our players and retaining them, acquiring them, scouting them. That's my department.
So Kenyatta, let me ask you this: are you the money man?
They come. I got old players coming to my office trying to get NIL deals. Just like I told you, I said if I had Cody Campbell's money, I would have got Tom Brady. I'd have went after him. Texas Tech, Blanchard down there, they got that much. I read something today, $55 million. I'm like, man.
As you speak about that, Kenyatta, how does that affect your ability to do your job?
Well,
with those limitations,
because like if you're not in that realm, you can't bargain or you can't negotiate the same. You just can't. And if you have you ID the same player, or you have a value placed on a player, and you're going after the same guy, I mean, you're going to get outbid. Yeah. That's just the nature of it. You can't go like, I got cows. I got horses. I'm not going to go to the cow sale and buy the cheapest cow. You know what I'm saying? I'm going to buy the best bred cow. You know what I mean? That's our business. So, but if you don't got the money, you got to stop at some point.
So without giving any trade secrets away, what do you guys do in a general sense to identify value for players that fit what you can afford to pay and will be the kind of guy that'll flourish in your program?
So we obviously, since a lot of our coaches have an NFL background, I have an NFL background, and talk to a lot of GMs and scouts and, just different front office people over the last 3 years, even before that. I mean, before the portal stuff was going on. But we try to slot values based off the revenue that we have, and there's a slim window on when you can go up. You can always go down on a guy, but going up and reaching and exposing a lot of your other rooms, because we do it by our, some of the slot values that we have, you change the whole dynamic of your team if you overspend.
Do you guys, how do you convey the message, like you said, you have an NFL background, to these kids that even though they're getting paid right now, there is another level that you're still trying to get to that next level of money? How do you guys convey that message to your players?
Well, we talk to them a lot about it, but we also bring in, NFL players that are current. We bring in NFL operations. They come in and speak to our team. We bring in scouts, bring in, some of the top agents in the game to come and just kind of speak to them about it. But we also share the hard truth, like there's not very many of you guys that's going to make it, or be able to have a retirement from the NFL. So you got to make sure that you're handling business here and being productive.
How important is it? Because we a lot of Texas Tech has been in the news quite a bit and about what they spent. But interviewing a couple of their players, we realized that a couple of their players started their collegiate journey as walk-ons. And then because they became walk-ons, then they got a chance to play, became productive, and even one of them even made an All-American team, so therefore their value increased. How is it important that you express the opportunity for players that what you come in as has no indication of what you'll finish, where you'll finish. And it's so important to come in the right situation over getting money up front.
It is. And like, at Oklahoma State, we've been a truly developmental type of organization. We haven't had the 5 stars, the big 4 star. We've had tough, physical, disciplined guys with great character that they're 2 star, 3 star, 0 star, whatever, that has developed in our program, and they became something. And so we still have that in our model, and we still do that, and there's still players that they have to look at what our total package is, not just the financial side. Who's coaching you and who's developing you? And we'll just use defense, for instance. We won some battles that we were a lesser number on a guy than the other organization because we had Todd Grantham, who's just came from the Saints. And so this defensive lineman, this dude been coaching in the NFL for 15 years and in the SEC for 14 years. And he's my D-line coach. He has greater value than this rookie coach over here at this organization. And so that provided a lot of value for us.
One of the things as you talk about value, one of the things that I think in this college landscape that can create a lot of value for schools, if they have great support services for the athlete.
Right, exactly.
Since in my opinion, the players are going to get older that play college football. And as those players get older, they're going to have kids, they're going to have families and things of that nature.
Right.
The support services that you build out for a player who has a family, I think can give you guys an advantage in the marketplace to say, hey, I know we can't pay you this, but this is what we have for these are kind of accommodations that we have for our married players or something like that. Do you think those kind of things can be valuable as you roll out your complete package to a player?
Yes, they do, and I'll talk about that because Coach Gundy, when we first started, trying to put together all of our services, because we didn't label them, it just was a part of the program. So we started labeling them, and we have a program. It's called a Lifetime Cowboy Plan. So that basically, when a kid comes to Oklahoma State, we are trying to figure out what they want to do for their life. Take football out of it. Take the logo off of it. Take football out of it. What do you want to be, and what do you want to do? And then we try to match them with not only companies, but, job plans, all this type of stuff early on. So they have a career path. So the biggest thing is when I came here at 17, I didn't think I would be a, GM, director of football, whatever you call it, at Oklahoma State at 47. I never thought that way. So I want you to look at your life from here, getting here, to when you leave, and I'm going to help you with our resources, our alumni base, our business school. Whatever it is, we're going to use our resources to help you.
Now, how important do you think it is, you as a Cowboy, sitting in the chair that you are, conveying how important and how instrumental being a Cowboy has been to you and your family?
I think it changes it that I'm not somebody else, because I've done it in that program and I've reached the dreams that they're trying to get to the NFL. I've been there, I've done that. I've done all the things that I felt like I wanted to do, and I did it in the same place that they're going to do it in, so I can help them. And so Coach Gundy has actually started to bring in guys that has done it in that program. It's different. We know the ropes and we know the connections. And he did that with our offensive line this year. He hired 3 offensive line coaches that all played there. One was a walk-on, one was a high, a very, recruited guy, and the other guy was All-American. You got 3 different types of guys. That's how the room is. You got walk-ons, you got guys that are recruited highly, you got guys that may not be recruited highly, but they all flourish. And so you have to be a product of what we're building.
Now, let me ask you this, Kenyatta. I guess this is kind of my opinion I want to get from you. What do you think about what's happening now, what I see in college athletics, where a lot of you guys that did play on the highest level, was very successful, you guys are welcome back into college football to be guys like you, to be administrators like yourself, to be coaches and things like that. What do you think about those opportunities opening up for guys like yourself?
I hope they open up even more. And the reason why I say that is because the game is getting so fragile, and you have to have relationships. Yeah. And if you don't have relationships, it's hard for us to kind of develop the guys in the way that we want to develop them.
Kenyatta, when you're recruiting these guys straight out of high school, or you're getting in the transfer portal, is the bag the first thing that comes up in the conversation? Because we've heard from all these different coaches, people want to get paid to come on visits before they go to do anything. Is the bag the first thing that comes up, or are you guys able to say, hey, let's have some conversation before we start talking about compensation?
Well, there's a lot of conversations before they get there about the bag with their agents, and that is coming up first. Yeah. But there's a high level of how can I get better and develop for a lot of guys. And it's more, and I think the high school is probably worse, the bag is, because that's all they see. Yeah. And that's all they focus on a lot. But, Man, we have to change that motto into, you know, that bag ain't gonna last forever. Yeah. It's got holes in the bottom of it. It's called taxes. It's getting taken away, brother. It's getting taken away.
Absolutely.
And football is a hard game.
It is,
Kenyatta. And you know, as someone who had an opportunity to play college ball, I would be completely distracted as a young man if I could get money for playing football at 18. You understand?
Yeah.
And so I was wondering, does the compensation sometimes cloud your decision on whether or not a guy really loves football or not?
Well, I think that we try to, like, just in your recruiting and when you're speaking to people in your meetings, you try to make sure that's not the forefront of it all. Because if he don't love football, that money ain't gonna be enough. I'm just gonna tell you,
it's hard.
It's
man.
hard. It's really hard.
Yeah.
And nowadays, like, you really got 6 months, so you might have a loan. You know what I mean? I mean, we might be loaning you some money that we're not expecting to ROI on. You know what I'm saying? Because you get in our program and you might not be the right fit. You don't want a lot of those guys.
You know, we were talking to players and they were talking about summer workouts, and as I'm going back and forth to my car at lunch, these guys let me know that they're out running 200s in June at 2 o'clock in the afternoon, and I'm like, you guys are doing what? And I'm like, that's what they're doing. So it's a really hard, hard life year round. When I mean by hard, you're going to have to give effort.
I don't mean give effort, yeah.
Yeah, but the relationships, the experience, being in that arena with those 50, 60, 70,000 fans, it's all worth it if you love the game. And I think that's still, to me, the most important thing. You can throw the money out there if you want to, but if you don't have kids that love the game of football, right, it's money. You're flushing money.
Yeah.
I don't care what star he is or whatever. And that's why I think it's so important that guys like you exist, so you can identify guys who love the money and don't love the game.
Yeah.
Because
you'll know. You'll know. That's what and my mentality is, I want guys that I want to play with. You know what I mean? That I can play with. Because you had those guys that love the entry of the game. They love running out the tunnel. I want guys that's going to hunt in the fourth quarter.
Absolutely.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I don't want the guys that just run out the tunnel and they enjoy that. Like now, I'm at Coach Gundy speak. Like, you know what I mean? You still get that feeling. I had to go to the other tunnel. Yeah. Like at Oklahoma State, I had to go where a bullet go. I had to go to the other. Because if I run out there ain't no telling what's going to happen. Because college football, man, it's a great joy to be on a team.
Yeah.
And that's where I think kids sometimes need to understand that it's hard work, but it's a joy.
Yeah. Now, I want to ask you a football question here. Now, you're a lifelong Cowboy. That rivalry against Oklahoma Sooners was always a big deal.
Oh, yeah.
How much do you guys miss that?
Man, I miss it a lot. I think Oklahoma, the state of Oklahoma, college football, I think they miss it a lot too. You know what I mean? I'm in that game right there. Like we won the last 2 out of 3, so I can go anywhere in Oklahoma and talk trash. But you know what I mean? But like that was a huge deal for Oklahomans.
Kenyatta, before we let you go, we talked a little bit about the business side and the football side. You talked about Stillwater and getting that feeling whenever you hearing Coach Gundy talk. What are some of those environments outside of Stillwater that still get you riled up and like, man, this crowd is electric, you can feel it? What are some of those spots, since you've been all around, that still get that feeling and get you riled up?
Well, man, we're going there. I hate Lubbock. You know what I'm saying? You know what I mean? One of my best friends in football, Sammy Morris, played at Buffalo with me. I couldn't stand Texas Tech. You know what I'm saying? But like, you want to go there and beat them, but Baylor the same way.
We're Baylor guys.
You just put whoever on the schedule, man. Just put whoever on the schedule. We going to Tulsa, same way. You know what I mean? But yeah, there's some great environments in the Big 12. I'm glad we don't play Texas A&M anymore, because I used to look up in the stands, you get in a trance, all that stuff they was doing. Like, man, this is crazy.
I just, the thing about one of the contributors on the show is Wayne Walker, a guy who played for Tech
Yeah.
And I don't get the throwing the tortilla thing.
Oh,
like,
I don't either.
I don't get it.
They put it in the video game.
Yeah, they did. They did. I'm like, I don't get what is the
I
deal
don't
about this
understand
tortilla.
why isn't that a penalty?
Oh, you're right. We're
Yeah,
going to have to remind
they-
the officials about that.
When
You
they
can't do
played
horns
Colorado
down.
last year, they had something to say about it. But yeah, and then you can't do horns down, but we
Yeah.
can throw tortillas on people. Yeah, I'm not so.
Hey, in the league, they throw batteries and beer.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
Oh, my
Y'all don't got
goodness.
anything y'all throw at Oklahoma State,
Boy,
do y'all?
no,
before,
we
before
just
we
hit them
come out there?
paddles.
Okay,
You can
okay.
come get your popcorn ready. That's all.
Yeah. Well, Kenyatta, I appreciate you coming
Hey,
by and
appreciate
stopping
you
with us,
guys.
man. Definitely gave us a lot of insight on the behind the scenes of college football and what's going on. Folks, this is Kenyatta Wright out of Oklahoma State, the football business director for Oklahoma State here on Centex Sports Network. We'll see you guys next time. Hello and welcome back into Centex Sports. Welcome back into Centex Primetime. That was our interview we got a chance to do with Kenyatta Wright, the football business, the head of football business operations at Oklahoma State, wanted to get his title right, but gave us a look back behind the curtain, man, to what's going on. This is a crazy time right now in college sports because of the ways that these guys are getting paid, and I'm not complaining. I'm not a guy that bring back amateurism and all the – you see the accent I put on. That's most of the guys that want to bring back amateurism in college football. They want to bring back a time where they can make millions and billions and somebody makes zero. Nothing about that is fair whatsoever, regardless of the bill that Trump tries to sign to bring back amateurism and all these things. I don't think it's going back. We talked about it on Monday with Rocky. This potential bill that could kick out amateurism in college sports. I don't think that's going to happen. It's no way possible that 18-year-olds are going to go from getting paid millions of dollars to play to making $0. That will not happen. They'll revolt. They'll throw away the NCAA before it happens. So y'all might as well come up with another plan now while we still got time, because that plan's not happening. But he gave us an insight on what is it like talking to these guys, navigating those conversations about money, figuring out who is a guy that just cares about money. He said that, and I thought that was so important. Who are those guys that just care about money? Because we need to weed those guys out now in order to be a successful program. There are plenty of guys that just care about the money. I said, when I first started the show and we first started talking about NIL, that NIL is going to present opportunities to where guys that weren't going to make it to the league might make it to the league. They're going to get different opportunities. Guys are going to pay for different things, and guys are going to get opportunities that they wouldn't have got if they didn't make the league. They're going to be able to take care of their family still. We got a chance to talk to transfer safety Cole Wineski at Texas Tech as well. He talked about how he's able to provide for his family. He's married. He's a young married guy. He's about 23. He's married already. He's able to take care of his family. His wife is able to afford to go to every single game to do what she wants to do because of the money that he got in NIL. That is what NIL is for guys like that. Even though I think Cole is going to be a pretty big NFL prospect, those guys that aren't going to be NFL prospects that still get a chance to make money and provide for their families before they get a chance to go to the NFL. But on the same side of that token, the other side of that token is guys that were going to make it to the NFL aren't going to make it. Guys that were going to make it to the NBA aren't going to make it. Once you start introducing money to these young kids, it changes people. You don't know how it's going to change them for the good or it can change them for the bad. Some people are going to say, man, I get a chance to do what I love and take care of my family at the same time instead of having to fight for $20 to get a burger after a game after you just performed in a stadium full of 55,000, 75,000 people. You don't have to go home and be hungry because that's what was going on beforehand. Now you get to live, you get paid what you weigh. If you're a big name star, if you're Arch Manning, if you're Colin Simmons, if you're these top guys, you're going to get paid like that. If you're a regular guy, they'll give you some compensation still, but you still get a chance to have some type of money. But with that comes guys that will not make it to the league, man. They're going to get complacent. And he talked about weeding those guys out. Oklahoma State doesn't have a lot of room for error in their recruiting because they're not getting the five-star guys. If anybody's going to be a five-star and live in the state of Oklahoma, unfortunately, they're just going to go to Oklahoma University. They're going to go to Norman. They're not necessarily going to go to Stillwater. As of right now, we all know that can change. Look at Texas Tech and the recruits that they've got over the last few years and the transfer portal, what they did this past year in football and in softball, getting all the way to the softball final. So it changes a lot, man. It was a really great interview with Kenyatta Wright, man. I want to thank him once again for even giving us that interview and sitting down and talking to us and explaining to us the business side of now college football. There is no more amateurism. Now you have small professional football. It's the smaller version of professional football. It's still a pro league because these guys are getting paid, and they're going to have to start acting like it. I do think that there needs to be regulations on NIL. Do I think it needs to be all the regulations that is in the proposed bill that Donald Trump signed? No. But there does have to be some type of regulation because there's got to be we got to be more than just an honor system. Kids are signing up, getting promised to get paid this amount of money, and they're not getting it. Organizations, colleges, teams, they're giving these kids this money, and kids are transferring 6 months later. Are they giving the money back? Do they have a 2-3 year contract? I think we're going to get to a point where we start to see teams have 2-3 year long contracts. Arch Manning is a perfect example. Arch Manning is going into now his redshirt sophomore year. He's got 3 years of eligibility left this season and then 2 more years. If somebody comes to him and says, hey, we got a 3-year contract for $45 million, does Arch Manning leave and go? He can leave and go to the league after this year. Does he stay those extra 2 years? If you say, hey, man, we're going to give you $10, $15 million a year just to stay and play college football, does that change how the pro game is looked at now? Does the NFL get involved and say, we don't want that because we want Arch to come out right now? So there's so many different layers. I think there does need to be some type of regulations, but there's layers to this conversation. It can't just be we need to go back to amateurism. That's not happening. They might as well throw that one out. That's not happening. Want to go to a couple of quick takes, folks, while we have a couple minutes here left on Centex Primetime and what's going on around the world of sports. First, I want to start with some WNBA. Paige Buckets, as I call her, Paige Beckers, has made some more WNBA history as she ties Cynthia Cooper, who we all know was a dog. Shout out to the Houston Comets. Y'all need to bring the Houston Comets back. I don't know what we're waiting on. It must be something going on there legally or something for the reason why Houston hasn't gotten a team again. But that needs to happen. Please bring back the Houston Comets. But she is the first player since Cynthia Cooper, fastest player to reach 400 points and 100 assists. Now, Dallas is lit right now in the basketball world. They just got Paige Buckets. You see what she's doing already, even though the team is bad. Give them a couple years to be able to build this team around her and Arika as well. Build that team around those two dynamic guards. I think they're going to be really good. They also have Cooper Flagg in Dallas on the Dallas Mavericks. Obviously, we've seen all the hype that's come with that as well. So Dallas is lit. I've got to find a way to get to a game, though. I've got to find a way to get to the game, especially the way the Paige Beckers has been playing this season. Fastest to 400 points and 100 assists. We knew what this was, man. I've said it before. The rivalry wasn't Caitlin Clark and Angel Reese. The rivalry since high school has been Caitlin Clark and Paige Beckers. Now, we know Caitlin Clark is a monster. We've talked about her on this show multiple times before. We know what she's done for the game of the WNBA. But I never at any point thought Caitlin Clark was better than Paige Beckers. In college, in high school, Caitlin Clark talked about her dream school to go to was UConn. She didn't go to UConn because they just offered the spot to somebody else in her class playing the same position, and that was Paige Beckers. Paige Beckers is a monster, man. Shout out to her for holding it down the way she's been doing this season for the Dallas Wings and making some more WNBA history. The W is lit right now. If you haven't been watching, please watch. I know we just see the headlines. We see the Caitlin Clark stuff. She had a stalker that just got arrested. That was kind of crazy. They got sentenced already. So I think 2.5 years. That was pretty wild. We see all the headlines with Angel Reese, who's actually been playing some really good basketball the last few weeks. I know she's always in the headlines for something else, and she coined the term "me bounds." I ain't gonna get on her right now for those terrible layups that she does, but she's been putting in some work, man. Especially before that All-Star break in the game that Candace Parker got her jersey retired on the LA Sparks. She showed out in that game, man. So shout out to Angel Reese. But you got her, you got Paige Buckets and what she's been doing. You got the best player in the league in Asia Wilson. You got Nafisa Collier, who's been playing great the last few seasons for the Minnesota Lynx. The W is lit right now, man. If you haven't been watching, I've been watching. It's nothing else to watch on TV. If you're a sports guy, what else you going to watch? You're going to do like me and just watch random film all day? Or you can watch some WNBA basketball, man. I enjoy watching it. I know baseball as well, too, is on. But some people like myself, it's hard to sit through a baseball game and watch it on television. In person, baseball is fun to watch. The games are fun to go to. People are fun to be around. But on TV, it doesn't give you that same type of experience, in my opinion. But shout out to Paige Beckers for making some more history. Since I said something about baseball, the Astros have made a trade, acquiring Carlos Correa from the Minnesota Twins, bringing back Carlos Correa, man. He's part of the dynasty the Astros had, man. Regardless of what y'all want to call it, all they cheated or whatever. Okay, they cheated and they won. And then they won without the cheating. So let's quit talking about the cheating because they got another one without the cheating. Carlos Correa was a big part of that regime. Bringing him back means a lot to, I'm sure, to him, the organization he grew up in. He watched him go from rags to riches, from the bottom of the standings all the way to winning multiple World Series. Carlos Correa was a huge part of that, man. I'm glad that he's back on the team, man. I'll have to get a jersey or something bringing back Carlos Correa. We know we still got Altuve. Yordan Alvarez has been in and out of the lineup. But a lot of those guys, those big-name guys from those teams have moved on. The Alex Bregmans and different guys like that have moved on. Bringing in Carlos Correa means a lot for that team, for that community, and probably for Carlos Correa too, man. So shout out to him getting traded back to the Houston Rockets. Mikal Bridges of the New York Knicks gets a contract extension, 4 years, $150 million for Mikal Bridges. I get it. Mikal Bridges is a great two-way guy on the defensive side of the ball. He definitely had some great moments in the playoffs and what he was able to provide for the New York Knicks. I wouldn't be handing out contract extensions, though, just now. We got to figure out who's who on this team. Y'all made the big splash trades last year. You brought in Karl-Anthony Towns. You brought in Mikal Bridges. You paid OG Anunoby. Jalen Brunson took a $100 million pay cut. You brought in the Villanova boys trying to bring back that magic, and you got all the way to the Eastern Conference Finals. But you fired your coach. You've got a new coach now, and Mike Brown. How was that going to gel with this team? What are these guys' roles? I know what Jalen Brunson's role is. I know what Karl-Anthony Towns' role is. Everybody else's role after that gets a little confusing for me. Is Mikal Bridges the scorer? I thought he was supposed to be a defensive stopper. I didn't see him stopping much in the playoffs at all, actually. OG Anunoby, him and OG do about the same thing. Josh Hart, on a smaller level as far as scoring, but as far as defensive and rebounding, does the same thing. They got to figure some stuff out on the New York Knicks, but they started off by giving Mikal Bridges an extension. The Hall of Fame game is tonight, folks. We've got football back, sort of. It's not going to be any of the big names that we think of that we're used to seeing whenever you think about NFL games, when you think about the Lions versus the Chargers. It's not going to be Jared Goff. We're not going to see Jahmyr Gibbs. We're not going to see anything like that. But we will get a chance to see some young guys that are going out there and trying to prove something. Game coming on in just a couple of minutes here on NBC. The Detroit Lions and the Los Angeles Chargers. DJU, you know I can't say his last name for those of y'all that watch, but the guy that played quarterback for Florida State last year, he's on the Chargers. They say he's going to get a lot of reps tonight. I guess I'll watch a little bit to see that. But it's late July, early August right now. I'll watch any football that comes on, just to be honest. Any football that comes on, I will be tuning in. So I'll be tuning in to the Hall of Fame game tonight. And shout out to all of the Hall of Fame inductees, especially Sterling Sharp. Not sure how we waited this long for him to get into the Hall of Fame. I understand Sterling Sharp's career got cut short due to injuries, but please go back and check the film, check the stats. This dude was a monster. We all know Jerry Rice from that era and what he did, and Jerry Rice's numbers are undeniable. But a guy that was putting up these same numbers, and some years better numbers, multiple years, better numbers. The last guy to win the Triple Crown outside of Cooper Kupp and Jamar Chase was Sterling Sharp for the Green Bay Packers, man, before he had a freak neck injury that ended up ending his career right there on the spot. Shout out Sterling Sharp, man, for being able to get into the Hall of Fame. Steph Curry for the Golden State Warriors a couple of days ago on an interview said he is nowhere close to retirement, man. And that's not shocking to me. Look at how Steph plays. He's 37 years old, I believe. His game is predicated on shooting the ball. That jumper is never going away. If he lives to 85 years old, he's still going to be able to make jumpers. That's never going away. His conditioning is unmatched. As long as he keeps himself in shape, Bron is showing the model. Kevin Durant is showing the model. These guys are going to play until they're 40. They're going to play until they're ready to stop playing basketball. It's not going to be anything else that takes them off. It's not going to be they're not good enough to play. Guys like LeBron, guys like Kevin Durant, guys like Steph Curry are going to play until they decide, hey, I'm done playing. I'll even throw Chris Paul in there. He's 40 years old, going into his last season, to his words. That's just because he's done. He could keep playing for as long as he wants because their games translate, because they think the game now. So Steph Curry saying he's nowhere near retirement, no type of shock to me whatsoever at all. Some more breaking news that kind of just happened. Scary Terry McLaurin, a guy that I'm high on, a guy that not a lot of people, some people think he's overrated or whatever. I think Terry McLaurin is a really good receiver. He has requested a trade. We know he's been sitting out because he's in some contract negotiations. Yeah, the Washington Commanders, they just went and got a dynamic quarterback in the draft last year that got them all the way to the NFC Championship game. They bring in a Deebo Samuel to add to that. They bring in more help on the defensive side of the ball. They make some key trades and bring guys in that can be a big piece to their defense and offense, like Laramie Tunsil that they got from the Houston Texans. Terry McLaurin seeing all that, he's like, hey, man, I'm the one that's been here the whole time. I'm the guy that's been an all-pro, that's been a Pro Bowler. Where's my money at? He's trying to solidify him getting paid. This is the time of year where we see contract negotiations from almost every single team. Guys are going to be sitting out. But now the fact that this has gotten to a trade request, I think is kind of just trying to force the hand of the Harris ownership group that includes Magic Johnson and a few other guys. I think he's trying to force the hand and say, hey, y'all, if you're not going to pay me, just trade me. I don't want to sit out throughout the entire preseason. I don't want to sit out throughout the entire training camp. If you guys are planning on paying me, just pay me now. If you're not, let me go somewhere else and play. And I'm always going to respect that opinion and that stance from different athletes. If you're not going to pay me, just trade me somewhere where I can play and where I can be paid. That's all these guys are looking for. They want to get paid to play the game they love, and they want to play the game they love. I'm sure he loves the Commanders. He's been there his entire career. He knows the trajectory that they're on right now, going up, just coming off an NFC Championship appearance. But he still wants to get paid at the end of the day, man. So hopefully they work that out and get paid for him to get paid. If not, we'll be looking on the market. Who could use a receiver like Scary Terry? There's a lot of teams that could use him, that could use his services. Some teams in the NFC East that could use his services. The Giants. I think about teams in the AFC that are contenders like the Buffalo Bills. They could use the services of a Scary Terry. Teams like the Miami Dolphins that are trying to figure out what they're going to do with Tyreek Hill out there. They could use him. Somebody to go along the other side of DK Metcalf in Pittsburgh. There's a lot of teams that could use his services, man. So, Commanders, if you're not going to pay him, just let him walk, man. But those are some of the quick takes and things going on around the world of sports. I want to thank everybody for watching with us here today as we're out of time here on Centex Primetime. Not for only watching with us today, but that have watched with us all week. If you haven't, go back and check out some of the episodes, man. At the beginning of this week, had a lot of great content to come out this week. We'll be putting out those interviews that we showed today with athletic director Rick George, and with the football business insider at Oklahoma State, Kenyatta Wright. Both of those really great interviews. We'll be putting those out tomorrow, or you can go back and watch this episode today and watch the preview that we put out today. But I want to thank everybody for watching with us here once again. As always, subscribe to the YouTube, Centex Sports Network / Centex Sports TV. Also, you can follow me. You'll see my name at the bottom ticker down there at Jalen Gillis. You can follow me on Instagram. You can follow the show on Instagram at Centex Primetime, and you can follow all of our content on Instagram at Centex Sports Network. Want to thank you guys for watching. We'll be back next week with plenty to talk about. The Hall of Fame game starting right now. Go over and watch it, man. Catch some football, as everybody here is excited for football season. We will see you guys next week right here on Centex Primetime. Everybody have a great weekend.